looks really nice. I feel like I'm there, and this is like a sky cam watching an actual car race. Hey everyone, today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Pixio Prime 27-inch, 165Hz, 1440p gaming monitor. I did receive this sample from Pixio, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. Just got a nice reddish orange box here with Pixio's logo and branding on it. This SKU and specific model number is the PX277P. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and look at the contents. All right, it's time for a quick viewer intervention. Yes, I'm talking to you. No, don't look away. I'm talking to you right now. In the last 28 days, almost 40,000 of you have viewed the TV Chef channel, but only 98 of you have become a subscriber. So would you please consider clicking that subscribe button? Bonus points if you like, comment, and share our videos as well. If you don't like our videos, please give it a thumbs down, click that dislike button, and tell us why in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you either way. Also, bonus points for you if you want to share it with an ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, a strange sibling, spouse. You get the idea. We'd be grateful for that as well. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature walking you through everything you need to know about your new gaming monitor, from how to download the user guide and manual, what's included in the box, how to install and assemble the stand, as well as disassembling the stand. This also comes with a 3-year warranty, so make sure to register your product. Next, we have our included cables, one DisplayPort cable, it's 1.5 meters, and it's DisplayPort 1.2. We also have our power cord and cable, 2 screws for the stand, our external power supply right here, with our barrel plug connector to connect directly into the monitor. Here is one piece of the stand, our nice base. This is made out of metal. We also have some rubber grip feet on it when it rests on our desk or surface. And then we also have the spot that we're going to attach right here with the 2 included screws directly to the monitor. Here is the monitor itself. Let's go ahead, let's look at this in more detail. Looking at the back of the monitor, we got the Pixio logo and branding front and center. Looks like some ventilation up top. VESA mount if you want to use your own stand as opposed to the included stand. Power button controls right down here. Kensington security lock. Really cool design and aesthetic on the back of this monitor. I really like how this looks. So much better than just boring old, black molded plastic. It's really cool with the indents, the grooves, the lines. Kind of got that circuit board gaming feel to it. Let's pop it up and let's look at all of our different connection options here. So power, we have 2 HDMI, 1 DisplayPort, and we have our earphone headphone jack right there. Everything's labeled for us as well, so I'm not sure if you can see that, but they're both HDMI 2.0, giving us 144 Hertz for the refresh rate. And then our DisplayPort 1.2 can give us up to 165 Hertz, and that's going to depend on your system or console, whatever you're using. Let's look at it up from the very top to get a feel for how thin this monitor is. It definitely gets a little bit thicker towards the back, but not bad. We'll do that side profile as well right here. Same thing. Look at it from the very bottom. Couple of screws right here. And looking at it from the front, near bezel-less design. I really like how that looks. Super slim. And then if I look at the screen in the light, where my thumb is, my fingertip right there, my thumb, that's where the pixels actually stop. Then the display stops under that little piece of plastic, so keep that in mind. Down at the bottom, we got the Pixio logo and branding, and it looks like we have an indicator light right here for the power. Now let's go ahead, let's get the stand set up. Stand installation consists of installing 2 screws from the base unit into the rest of the monitor that's already assembled. So we have the 2 screws right here. You're gonna drop them in place, just like that. So we dropped them in, and then you're gonna just mount them right here. This is only gonna fit one way, just like so. So now we have it all set and ready to go to tighten down the screws to get everything properly set up. So both screws are tightened down and fastened in place. Now let's turn it over so it can support itself. It's a rock solid stand. I really like the metal construction there. The only feature we get with the stand is the ability to adjust the tilt. So there we go. We have it tilted all the way down or towards you, and then we can tilt it all the way back. If you want to move it or rotate it to the left or to the right, just turn the monitor how you want it, and you're going to be at this fixed height. You have no way to adjust that besides either getting your own stand or adding some books or something to increase the height, you're not going to have a way to decrease it. And same for if you wanted to change to maybe a vertical or portrait viewing experience, you'll have to do that with your own stand. But in regards to build quality, this is a really nice stand. And the good news is if it doesn't have the features that you want or it's not the right height, they give you that VESA mount option so you can use your own stand and mount. So we have the monitor plugged in, powered on. We have our advanced display settings right here showing us that we are getting 1440p and 165 hertz. Technically, we're getting 164.999 hertz. Again, you'll only be able to achieve that with the DisplayPort cable, and make sure the rest of your system and build can support 1440p and 165 hertz. You may have to dial those back depending again on what your machine is capable of doing. Now let's bring up the built-in menu. This is one of the best menus I've ever used. It's just so intuitive and easy to navigate and find all the settings that you're looking for. And let me tell you, I've reviewed quite a few monitors and they always, typically really drop the ball with the built-in menu, but this one's so nice. First, we have all of our different categories and settings. So first up, display right here, brightness, contrast, black equalizer, preset, aspect ratio, sharpness, ultra vivid, so we have all of those different display specific settings. Then let's go back, we have our color settings, so we can change color temp, gamma, hue, saturation, low blue light if you want to adjust that for your sensitivity. Gaming setup, do you want FreeSync on or off, overdrive, off, low, medium, or high? Do you want game assist in any of those? Timers, do you want a crosshair, FPS counter? What about HDR? Do you want that on or off? DCR on or off, and same with MPRT. You'll notice up here too, we're showing 1440p, 165 hertz. FreeSync is currently off, and we can see some of those settings right there at a quick glance. Next, we have our input settings, auto select, DisplayPort, or our 2 HDMI ports, followed by our system setup. Choose the language that you want. OSD setup, do you want to reposition any of this? Audio settings, so we can mute or adjust the volume. This does not have built-in speakers, but you can adjust the volume for your headset if that's what you're after. So that would be again right there, and we're currently at 50. And let's go to our user data. Do you want to save or load a specific user profile? You have 3 options there. That's really helpful if maybe you have a certain setting you want for a specific game. You could save 3 of those there. So that's the menu. Very easy to navigate and find exactly what you're looking for. And don't forget, with this one toggle button, we can press it multiple ways to access some quick shortcuts right here. So basically to the left, to the right, up or down, and that's what we currently have set up. So it's brightness, it's our image preset, it's our game assist, and it's our input. Or we can just press the main button one time, push it in, and now we have our full-fledged menu right there. So really happy with the simplicity of this menu, very easy to navigate, and I really like the controls and just again how easy it is to operate. Since this monitor does have a bunch of different image presets, we're going to cycle through them really quickly so you get a feel for the one that's going to work best for you and just see how you may want to tweak this on a case-by-case basis. First up, we're in user, followed by movie, then photo. Let's go to RTS, FPS 1, FPS 2, and standard. Again, back to user, movie, photo, RTS, FPS, standard. So look at how they're each changing and tweaking the image quality ever slightly, right? Different shadows, blacks, highlights, lowlights. You get the idea. Keep cycling through them. And now we're going to toggle HDR on and off to see if you can tell any sort of noticeable difference right here. So there we go with it on. Now we'll turn it off. I mean, it looks really good either way. Let's turn it back on again. And now we'll turn it off again. Not too noticeable to me as I toggle between the two, but it's still nice to have that option, especially if you have some HDR specific content that you're really excited to view. Hopefully that'll make the difference for you. Next, we have the UFO test pulled up on the display right now, and I do want to point out that the camera pointing at the screen with this test, it doesn't look very good, but that's not what it looks like in person. That's just the camera and the monitor not getting along. So what you're supposed to see is down here at the bottom, the 41 FPS value is going to be pretty juddery as it moves across the screen. As we double that FPS value to 83, it gets a lot smoother. And then we double it again to 165, and it's buttery smooth, very fluid, and it looks great in person. So in person, what you're seeing is this one down at the bottom basically gives you some of that ghosting, the double take of the UFO as it's kind of sputtering and staggering and skipping across the screen. We don't get that as much with the 83 FPS. It looks very good. Same with the 165 FPS. It's very, very smooth. So keep that in mind. What you see is not what you get with the camera, but with your own eyes in person. You'll appreciate having that higher refresh rate if you can match it with your system in a higher FPS value. Now let's talk about backlight bleed and IPS glow. Typically with IPS glow, you're going to find it around the corners. I did not notice anything in this case with this particular display, and yes, it is an IPS panel. I did notice some backlight bleeding. That's very normal. Nothing you can do about it, and honestly, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. But I did notice right here a little bit of backlight bleeding, and then just a smidge on the other side as well. So overall, no complaints. Again, that can vary panel to panel, so you could have a completely different experience than I did. And I only noticed that again when I had a black full screen up like we do right here, and I had all the studio lights off and the room was completely dark, and I was looking at it from all sorts of crazy angles to see if I could notice anything. So keep that in mind for your normal viewing experience. You should have nothing to worry about with this monitor. Let's spend a minute talking about color accuracy. So we use DisplayCal and our USB meter to get the results that you're seeing on the screen. Keep in mind, these are just our own findings. These are not official specs or anything along those lines. So we found that we got a gamut coverage of 99.6% sRGB and a volume of 125.9%, 75.4% Adobe RGB coverage, and 86.8% Adobe RGB volume. And lastly, we got 83.6% DCI P3 for our coverage and 89.2% for our volume. Typically, the higher, the better. I would say this is well within range usually for a monitor at this price point. Would it be good enough for high-end color grading and color accuracy? That's really only for you to decide. You probably know what sort of value ranges that you need, so you could see if they fit into what we gathered here. Now it's time for the web browsing test, where we're going to take a look at a couple of popular websites in case you want to use this monitor primarily for browsing the web. So we got YouTube pulled up here, the trending page. Take a look at everything. Very fluid and responsive here. Videos are playing and loading just fine. We got our thumbnail and it's showing us a clip of the video. So not only is it for consuming media, we also have it if you want to stay up to date in the latest news, things along those lines. We have The Verge pulled up here, just a popular tech blog with one of their latest articles. Pay attention to how the image looks, the title, the headers, the font, all of the paragraphs, the quotes. Sometimes there's embedded tweets, TikToks, you get the idea. So that looks great. Let's just go to the homepage right here. Ads are showing up just fine, our embedded tweets. No issues there. And then lastly, maybe you want to use it to shop and browse the web that way. So we got Amazon pulled up. All the images look fine, no issues, very clear. And really nice. Let's test the input lag out on this monitor. Now keep in mind, input lag is different from response time. This has an advertised 1 millisecond response time, MPRT. I have no way of verifying if that is true or not, but we can test out with this nifty little tool right here, the input lag on this monitor. And basically that's the delay between a command and when it's issued and when it's displayed on the monitor. So that's what we're doing with this test. Let's see what our results are. All right, look at that. About 1.3, 1.4 milliseconds for our input lag. Let me show you the middle value. This should be probably around 8 or so. All right, 8.7, 8.8, well within range. Lower the better for all of these. And then that one's going to be right there too, 16 milliseconds. But the input lag for this monitor, 1.4. Again, well within range for gaming monitors. And that shouldn't be enough for you to really notice any sort of delay or have any issues, whether you're a casual gamer or professional esports gamer. Let's talk about gaming on this Pixio monitor. So we have Forza 5 pulled up right here. Currently have it configured to be on their extreme settings at 1440p and up to 165 FPS. We're getting around 115 FPS, give or take, right now. Look at how good everything looks. I love IPS panels, so I do have a bias towards the preferences of better viewing angles and colors with slight compromise in some of the faster response times. But I really love how everything looks, especially 1440p at 27 inches. Definitely the sweet spot, in my opinion, if you're looking for resolution and screen size. But I think it speaks for itself. Pay attention to the reflections. Obviously, the movement of the vehicle, too. Is it fluid enough for you? Noticing anything in particular about it that you like or don't like? Got the weather now with the rain, the sky, all the shadows. Looks really nice. I feel like I'm there. And this is like a sky cam watching an actual car race. Now we have Assassin's Creed Valhalla right here. Look at the gameplay footage. It looks really, really good. Unfortunately, as I monitor the camera, it just doesn't look as good as it does in person, actually looking at the monitor. Good colors. I like the contrast between the background and the foreground here in this frame. Maybe it's a little dark for you. Things you got to look at and consider. Obviously, you can tweak the settings too if you don't want to use standard. I like the look back on the town here with the ruins of the temple. Pretty cool. Love the colors. Really enjoyable. This is Borderlands 3, currently at 1440p, and we're getting right around 120 or so FPS. That'll vary again depending on the resolution, all of the graphics settings that you can configure, and the GPU that you're using, what you'll be able to push on this monitor. Pay attention to the colors, the shadows, the flames, the smoke. You get the idea here. The movement, the motion. Have that critical eye to see if this is what you're looking for, what you can expect if you like to play this game. Got our little sneak attack ambush coming up. A little firefight. Cue the slime explosion here. There we go. That stuff can't be good to breathe in. LOL. And then we got our explosions and our flashbangs. Looks good to me. If you're wondering about next-gen consoles with this Pixio monitor, we have the PlayStation 5 connected, and it does support 1440p at both 60 and 120 Hz, with or without HDR. Keep in mind with the PS5, the 120 Hz output, you're gonna have to set that to automatic, and that'll vary depending on the game that you're playing and if it's supported. Don't worry, you Xbox people, I haven't forgot about you as well. We have the Xbox Series X connected right here. We're looking at our display options. So we have our resolution 1440p selected and 120 Hz for the refresh rate. You also have the option of 60 Hz if you would prefer that, but that's what you can expect on the Xbox Series X, 1440p at 120 Hz max. So now let me share with you my final thoughts in regards to this Pixio gaming monitor. First thing I want to cover is the VESA size is 100 by 100, and I actually know the screw size for you. It's M4 by 8 millimeters if you're looking. Also in regards to brightness, it peaks at 350 nits. I had no issues at all with the brightness on this monitor. Definitely well within range and happy with it. Again, not even noticeable, negligible in that regard. So it's not too dark or too dim or anything like that. The sweet spot with this particular panel is giving you 27 inches at 1440p with up to 165 Hz. That's definitely the sweet spot for a gaming monitor in my opinion. You can bump up to 4K, but you'll probably want to have a larger screen to take advantage of that, and you're gonna have to shell out some more money to pay for that. So I like where this is at in regards to spec and performance. The two biggest things I would change are not actually related to the panel itself, but the stand and not having built-in speakers. So I'd love to have, even if it's just two 1-watt speakers or two 2-watt speakers built into this monitor, that would be really nice. And I would argue that it should be at this price point. And then the next thing is I really wish that this stand had at a minimum height adjustment. I can't believe we can't even adjust the height with this stand. It's so nice. So I wish in the future that we had height adjustment and they gave us swivel, rotation, all of that good stuff. But this is a nice monitor straddling that sweet spot between price and performance.